From the flight deck of the astral plane, this is your captain, Star Pilot 33, checking in solo. No, this isn't a flight log. This is a tribute video for Copilot Cat, who I lost about a month ago. It's January 25th, and a month to the day, he hung in there for 24 more hours, and he passed on the 26th. And instead of trying to cram this into the prologue of my next flight log, whenever that is, whenever I feel well enough to do it, I decided to do a separate video just because I know a lot of you really love Copilot and have followed him throughout the years and throughout his medical issues, and I just wanted everybody to know what happened. So, in case everyone doesn't know the backstory, Copilot showed up as a feral cat that would wander around the neighborhood, and I fed him under my car for about 6 years. Just, put a handful of food out, and that was it, twice a day when I got home from work and in the morning. And then over time, he got more comfortable and was able to come around to the back of the house and knew there was food waiting inside the screened-in patio area, and I just left the door cracked open for him. And he slowly got more accustomed to that, but I could never pet him or get close to him for a very long time. And then in 2018, he got attacked by a neighborhood tomcat and was injured, and I came home from Christmas and saw that he showed up with an abscessed leg that had a puncture wound from a cat tooth all the way through it. And so I managed to get him on the patio just long enough for me to walk around the outside of the house and then close the screen door and trap him in there. And then somehow I managed to get him in a carrier by, again, tricking him with a toy that I'd been playing with, like a little string toy. And I just dragged it right through the carrier, and he got in, and that was it. So I brought this wild cat to the vet, and they stitched him up after tranquilizing him and using the metal, chainmail gloves and whatever, because he was pretty wild. And after that, I thought he would just kind of disappear. I thought once I brought him home, that would be the end of it. But he came back, and slowly he decided he wanted to come inside. So I just transitioned him to being like an indoor-outdoor cat, and then one day I just never let him out again, especially when the vet told me he was between 12 and 15 years old, and that was 8 years ago. So he had catio privileges, and I set up a little cat tree and food and water litter box out there on this tiny little itty-bitty patio that I have. He had catio privileges, but he was not allowed out anymore because I was afraid for his safety. And he had issues. He had severe parasites that we worked to clear. He had allergies. He had asthma that was never treated. He was a very itchy cat. He had dermatitis thanks to allergies from food and from the environment. And he was on medication to control that. He would rip his fur out. He had to wear pajamas and cones and things to keep him from literally ripping his fur out and licking himself till he bled. So he always had a overactive immune system, and so this, was a precursor to everything. And also the parasites that he had were really bad ones. He had whipworms, among other things, but he had a whipworm infection to the point where most likely that's what caused the intestinal cellular changes that led to IBD and later led to the small cell lymphoma. I'm a mess right now. I've been crying for 4 days straight, pretty much. 5, I can't even keep track. I don't even know what day it is. We make the story short or long, or I don't know. We stopped the chemo with him in early December because he had a dip in his hematocrit twice, so we stopped. because that's the sign to stop, according to the book. And he improved. We checked him again 2 days, and his levels are coming back up. He's rebounding, and everything was looking good. And then we were going to recheck in a week. And we had him on this antibiotic, metronidazole, which is it's an anti-parasite medication, but it's also used for inflammation in the bowels. And so it has kind of dual purpose. He doesn't need the anti-parasite part, but the inflammation part helps. And it's a standard procedure for cats with small cell lymphoma. After about, 7 days on it, he just really got bad. And just Saturday, the 20th or whatever day that was, I woke up and he had just pooped absolutely everywhere in the house, and it's this antibiotic. He just wiped out. So she said, stop the antibiotic and just get him back on, the full-time probiotic, which he was on. I was spacing it 12 hours, so that the probiotic could work overnight, and the gut replacement, the fecal gut replacement pills would work overnight. And then he would get the antibiotic in the morning, and then he improved on Monday and Tuesday. He was doing pretty good. I got a video of him on Monday, and he looked really good. And Tuesday I came home and he was good, and but he's been off his wet food for a while. He hasn't been interested in wet food. All he wants is dry food, but he was eating dry food like a pig. So good. Christmas Eve, something was wrong, and he let me know. He climbed up on the table, and he just looked at me, and then reached out and grabbed my hand, and with his claws, and just squeezed my hand. And I looked at him, and I'm like, "What's going on with you, man? What is going on with you?" And I just, felt like, I don't know, maybe. And then I realized that he wasn't eating as much. In fact, he wasn't eating at all, but he was going to his water bowl all the time. And I thought he was drinking. It wasn't until Christmas morning that I realized that he wasn't really drinking from his bowl. He was just hanging his chin in it and not really drinking. And by that time, we were about 24 hours behind in his hydration, and he was getting severely dehydrated. So I started with the syringe, 20 milliliters every other hour, and started feeding him. I blended up some food. I was feeding him 60 milliliters a day to get something in him. And after the morning, I looked at him, and he jumped up on the table. I was just opening these couple of presents, and I just looked at him, and he's sitting there, and I'm like, man, you're in pain. This is different, the eyes are squinty, and the whiskers are sticking out, and his hair is sticking up on his head a little bit, and I'm like you're hurting inside. And I called Lap of Love as the name of the hospice that can come to your house, and they're open 24/7, 365, but they can't always come out on Christmas Day, but they can at least answer the phone. And I just said, I think this is it, and I need a vet to come out right away. And they said the earliest they could do was 9 o'clock the next morning. And so, the entire day on Christmas Day, all I did was just research stuff online, what could this be, why this suddenly, all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, downturn, and his gums were pale, and his nose was pale, and his paw pads and his ears, everything was turning white. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, this could be dehydration, and maybe he's having pancreatitis because he keeps crouching he has a stomach ache, or he's having a complete crash of all of his blood. And I didn't know which it was. And I kept online, kept asking, and I got 5,000 responses and 1,000 comments or something, or 2,000 comments, everybody trying to help. And about 11 o'clock at night, I called Lap of Love and said, look, I need to postpone this. I'm really sorry. Like, I need to find out what's going on here. And we already had a vet appointment for 11 o'clock the next morning to check his CBC. And it was a week from the last CBC. And I'm like, at least if he can make it through the night and we can check the CBC, whatever it says will at least confirm what's going on, and I won't think that I made the wrong call and put him to sleep because of a stomach ache or something, and when it's not that. And so he made it through the night, and I got up frequently and gave him more water. And he wanted to go out about 5 a.m. He wanted to go out. And also, like, late in the night, he kind of rallied a little bit and came out and was, wanting to sit there with us. And I'm like, maybe you're not, this isn't the end, okay? Like, you seem okay. Like, you want to go outside? Okay. But I let him out, in the morning, and he wasn't eating. He wouldn't eat anything, like anything you put in front of him, even his favorite food, like stuff he's not supposed to have. He just walked away. I got about 40 milliliters in him of some blended up kitten food. But it seemed like, I don't even know if I should have done that. It seemed like eating hurt, like something inside was hurting. And I got some more water in him, got him to the vet. He hadn't gone to the bathroom in 24 hours, which, a cat with IBD lymphoma is going to the bathroom all the time. And so I kind of had a feeling this was different. And the day before, Christmas Day, I actually let him out in the backyard, which he hadn't been in since I captured him. And I let him just walk around, and I was staying close to him. I just let him have some outside time and lay down in the clover and, just enjoy the outside a little bit. And so anyway, we went to the vet in the morning, and they took his blood, and everything was at 0. Red blood cells were at 2%. Just, he didn't have any blood left. So that was it. There was nothing else we could do. I mean, if he had non-regenerative bone marrow after the chemo, a transfusion would be pointless. And most likely what happened, though, is that after we stopped the chemo, the cancer just came back times 10, without the chemo to stop it. And, or it could have metastasized into his bone marrow and just killed him. And so I called Lap of Love from the vet parking lot on Christmas, the day after Christmas, the 26th, and I just said, look, I need you guys to come out, as soon as you can come out, this is for real. I already had everything signed, all the paperwork was signed. It was just, whenever they could get out there. And they sent the same vet they were going to send the first time, and her name was Dr. Love. Right? Ironic. And the whole day waiting for her to come out, I just stayed with him, and we went out in the backyard again, and he could take 10 or 15 steps, then he needed to sit down and rest, and you could tell he was just so tired. Now that I knew that he just didn't have any blood left, he looked so tired, but he still wanted to go investigate, and look in the plants and everything, and then he laid down, and he napped for a little while, and then woke up, and I just let him stay out there for a bit, and then I decided it was time to go in. And he wanted to go and just lay in the shower, and this cool tile in the shower, and I brought his water bowl in, and I sat with him, and I just told him, I said that, hey, I know you don't feel good, and we're going to have a doctor come in a couple hours, and the doctor is going to make you okay again, and she's going to heal all this diarrhea that you have forever, and it's going to be gone, and you're never going to have that pain ever again. And she's going to heal that scar from your surgery, and she's going to heal all your teeth are going to all be brand new again, and she's going to fix that little ear tip where they had to clip your ear a long time ago. And she's going to fix your kidneys, and she's going to fix everything. And you're going to feel good, and you're not going to have to worry about anything anymore with eating. You can eat anything you want and not have to worry anymore. And everything's going to be okay. and he just looks just sick. And I've never seen him like this. Like, he's looked sick before, but not like this. And he kept looking in the water bowl and just staring in the water bowl. And I thought, and his paws were wet. Like, he kept trying to touch the surface of the water to make it move. Like, he couldn't see the water, and he was so thirsty. And I kept giving him water in the syringe. And he just was staring at himself in the water, so I was just staring with him, like, I don't know, maybe he can see me. I don't know if he can see himself. And I moved the surface of the water to try to get him, to see it, like, hey, you can drink it if you want. But he was like thirsty, but he couldn't. And so I kept giving him the water in the syringe, and the vet gave him a bunch of fluids, and she gave him some pain meds, so he might have been a little loopy too. And she said, I can give him all the pain meds you want. I can give him so many pain meds that it tips him over if you want. And I said, no, don't do that. I just want him to be comfortable. But he wasn't comfortable, even with the pain meds. Like, he was still showing a lot of signs of pain all of a sudden. And I hadn't seen that before, ever, not like that. The dilated eyes and the whiskers sticking out and the squinty eyes and the third eyelid coming out and this just squatting on the ground. Like, that's not what we have had ever. He's never done that. The difference between everybody says, oh, put him out of your misery. He wasn't miserable until Tuesday when something happened on Wednesday, and this was suffering. This was it. And that's why I called. And so I sat with him and took him outside again and put him on his cat tree on the patio and let him have some outside time, and the sun was going down. And that was sad. It's like, the sun's going down, buddy. Like, this is the end for us. And he was so pale, and he was so weak, and he's just laying there on his cat tree looking at me. But he didn't look like he was looking at me. It was like he was looking past me. And he hadn't looked at me all day except for one time by the water bowl where he really looked in my eyes. And I was like, oh, this is it. You're on your way. And he was already kind of like in and out at that point. And the vet showed up at 5 o'clock, and I had a big red blanket on the floor for him in his cat bed and extra blankets in case he had any poops. And I had the whole house decorated for Christmas, and I had some Christmas music on. And she told me what was going to happen. And Romeo, my other cat, came up and laid right beside him for the first shot, the sedative, and then he got up and left, and I didn't know where he went. And I stayed with him, and I was laying on the floor looking in his eyes, but he was already somewhere else. And then she gave him the second shot, and I watched his breathing until he stopped, and his head was in my hands, and she was listening to his heartbeat, and she told me when it was gone. And that was it. And then they had this pretty basket with flowers and a blanket, and they put him in there like he's asleep. And they let me carry it out to the car, and they took him away. And then when I went in the house, I couldn't find Romeo anywhere. In church, who knows where he was? He doesn't even know anything's going on. That cat's like just a space cadet. But Romeo was under the bed in Copilot's spot where he always would go and sleep. And Romeo's been there every day, sleeping in that spot. So he's grieving too. And now, my daily routine of getting up and cleaning up messes and cleaning multiple litter boxes and giving transdermals and giving inhalers and 10 pills and all this stuff and a special food and everything, and then watching for nausea and watching for accidents, and it's just gone. Like, my routine is like get up, give Romeo his inhaler, and feed everybody, and it's like 5 minutes. So I just felt like I had to get. I can't take it. I can't take Copilot's bowls. I can't take his litter box. I can't change anything. I keep thinking I'm seeing him like asleep, in places that he would sleep. Like I look out the patio and like I can almost see a white and gray cat like sleeping on his blanket, and then it's not there. My mind sees it, but then my eyes realize he's not there. And I'm just going back through pictures and videos and trying to figure out, like, when did this really turn down? Like, how long ago did this really get bad? And I don't know. It's like when you're in the fog of the war, you can't see what's going on. You can only, like, look in hindsight. But he was really there with me all the way up until that Tuesday, and then he just, like, quickly checked out so fast. And so now I felt like I needed to get all this medications and, like, a whole countertop. If you could see the picture, this countertop full of medication and refills and, extras and antibiotics and special food and supplements and B12 and liquid iron and ion gut support and, like, every kind of supplement you can think of all at once. My other cats can't use it, so I felt like Copilot would have wanted me to give it to other cats that can use it. So I took all of it. It was huge, like 3 boxes, huge boxes full of stuff. I took it up to this rescue, where I take some of the barn cats to get neutered and spayed and whatever, and I donated it. They said they could use all of it. So now I'm like in this weird space where I feel like he's still here sleeping in the other room, and he's going to come out at any time and come jump up on the table and want hugs and kisses, and it never happens, and then I wake up at 5 o'clock thinking I need to get up and let him out, and last night I got up and I got all the way to the door and opened it, and I realized that he's not there. It's such a habit now, and I can't, my brain can't wrap itself around the fact that he's gone, Like, it couldn't have been a worse day. I mean, it would have been Christmas Day if anybody was open. If I didn't have to drive 45 minutes to an emergency vet and pay $1,000 to walk through the door to tell me the same thing that my vet told me for $100 the next day, he would have been gone on Christmas Day. But instead it was the 26th. So yeah, anyway, I'm processing all of this, and, like, I know he was old. Everyone's like, oh, but he's old. Yeah, I know, but I mean, I'm sitting here going through medical records trying to figure out, like, how long ago did this start? How long was he going through this? When did we start the chemo again? When did we end it? What was his blood work in July? How anemic was he to start? I mean, it's been such a blur. And I've got another cat with cancer too. I've got Romeo, who's got lung cancer, and he's 16. So I'm about to go through this all again, only this cat can't be treated. So I don't know. I don't know what mistakes I made. I just hope that somebody has explained to him everything that went on and everything that happened to me this year, and what was wrong with him, and why we had to go to the vet all those times, and why I had to put all those pills down his throat. And I hope somebody's explained that all to him, like what happened, and why he didn't feel good at the end, and who that lady was. And I just hope somebody explained it all to him. I don't know what they understand or what they don't understand, but I get a lot of bullshit from people, these new age people, and they're like, oh yeah, they're at the Rainbow Bridge, and they're like, oh yeah, if they're at the fucking Rainbow Bridge, then I should be able to go there too and see them next time I'm at the fucking Rainbow Bridge, when I take a whole metric fuck ton of mushrooms. But you know what? That's not how it works. That's the problem. That's not how it works. God, why did he have to go right on Christmas? I mean, I'm happy he stayed that long, but God, his unofficial birthday would have been tomorrow. New Year's Eve. That was his unofficial. That was the day I rescued him 7 years ago. I don't know when his real birthday was, but that's when I celebrated it. But 7 years, I got 7 years with him, and that was it. I fed him under my car for 6 years, but I couldn't get near him because he was wild. But I only had 7 years with him. So I just wanted to make this video just to commemorate Copilot Cat and everything that he was to me. He wasn't just a cat, he wasn't just a pet, and I'm sure that everybody knows from my videos that Copilot played an integral role on every single trip I was on, and I've never seen a cat want to be involved so much like he was. I mean, Romeo, to a degree, will snuggle up, but Copilot was right there, like my trip sitter, like my shaman, on some of the hardest trips when I felt like the whole world was falling down or losing your mind or just spinning into the black hole. And he would always be there and comforting and just knowing when I needed him there and knowing when to leave me to battle it out alone. And so many times I'd wake up and he'd be curled around my head on the couch or just sitting there purring and looking at me. And I don't know what it was, some kind of premonition or something, but it was November 19th. He was just purring so loud. He was sitting on the table here with me, purring so loud. And I thought to record it. And I'm so glad I did, because that sound, I'm going to be playing that on trips. When things get bad, I'm going to be playing that sound. And feel free to play it on yours too. If you need Copilot there, play that sound of him purring. I'm gonna play it here at the end of this video. But I really felt like I needed to do this for him before I try to continue onward, just to commemorate, just to honor him. And he deserves his own video. He really does. And I'm going to miss him forever. And I hope I see him on the other side really soon. But this is going to be a hard one for me to get over. But I will. And yeah, I just hope wherever he is now that he's got a lot more information about everything than I do. Because I'm going to be racking my brain with questions forever about how this all went down. But anyway, I love you forever, Copilot, and I'll see you on the other side.